Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the VOD Squad, the show where we talk about streaming stuff every week on Wednesday on Twitch, even though there is no video proof that we've ever done this on Twitch before. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing well. Coming to you from Georgia tonight.
Ooh.
Sweet.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah.
Doing good. Yeah. That's cool. Georgia. That's where I was born. That's where I'm from. As you can tell by my strong southern drawl.
Yes.
Yeah. I would have never guessed that, Mike.
I'm an Army
part
brat, so.
Oh, so you must have been born in Fort Benning?
No, Augusta.
Oh, that's Fort Gordon.
Fort Gordon, yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yep.
So I'm guessing as an Army brat, you went all over the place. What made you end up in Austin, Texas?
Job.
Okay.
A lot of good tech jobs as a developer, a programmer. There's lots of options here.
Very cool.
You got that right.
Just curious.
Yeah. Apparently the Twitch chat plugin changed, so now it's white. I don't like that. That just happened. So while you guys are talking, I am frantically making changes.
Well, then we need to fill some dead air, and I'm happy to do that. Do you know what today was? Today was Google Day.
What?
I had a lot of fun with Google Day today. I'm being a fan of Google. You could imagine.
What is Google Day? Is that because they had like their I/O or something like that?
No, they announced the new Pixel phones, right?
Yes, they did, and I am not getting one.
No.
I could trade in. So the question is, I've got the Pixel, the original Pixel XL. I could trade it in, get some money back from it through the Google Fi program, enough to probably cover what I still owe on it, maybe a little bit short, and then get the new Pixel 2 in its place, and basically come out even. But if it's the new Pixel, just to talk a little bit about it, is cool, got some new features, but nothing so groundbreaking that I couldn't live without it. And probably this is going to get a lot of those features pretty quick from Google. So if I wait a year and I can wait for the next big Google phone, then I get to keep this one because I'll own it and I'll have an extra. And that sounds good too. So it's worth. I think it'd be worth waiting. It's not to say that new phone doesn't look very cool. And
hey, come on, man, be a sucker like the rest of us and just get a new one every year, right?
I'd love to, but
see, that's the thing that I've been fighting is I would love to get a new phone every year. The problem is every 2 years when I go to get a new phone, there's not necessarily a phone I want. My G4 is now over 2 years old.
Do you have a Lenovo?
No, it's LG.
LG.
Lenovo doesn't make phones in the U.S. at least.
The Motorola G4.
Well, they own Moto now. You're right.
Yeah. Sorry,
I was actually, that's kind of what I'm leaning at, the new Z2. But so I had a G4, so I didn't need a G5. So this year I was waiting for the G6 because it was coming out right around the time I was about to get a new phone. And then I went, wait, no removable battery. And it's like the same form factor as the iPhones that I don't like. Okay, no.
Did they take away the head jack as well?
No, because every other company knows how to waterproof to an even higher standard than Apple with a headphone jack.
That's true. It's actually not that hard. Everybody who says otherwise just doesn't
no, it was just Apple. Apple needed an excuse to sell you those fancy things that are hanging out of your ears.
You've been able to buy waterproof like MP3 players that you could swim with for years.
Yeah, no, and that was the thing when we talked about the new Apple phone, how the G6 and the Galaxy S6 had a higher waterproof standard than the new Apple that they just announced, and it has a headphone jack. So I don't know why Apple, other than
oddly enough,
oh, go ahead.
Oddly enough, the new Pixel phone also doesn't have a head jack.
Yeah.
Apple called it courage. Google just said, "Yeah." I don't know. That's one thing I wish it still had was the darn headphone jack. Come on, Google.
Well,
I mean, you know, the Bluetooth headphones are getting better, I have to say.
Yes, they are.
But, I mean, I've got Bluetooth in my car, but still.
The thing for me is that's another $100 expenditure that I've got to make when I purchase this phone, because I've got a nice high-end or like moderately nice set of headphones that I've got, some Sennheisers, and I like them. And while they're not the high-end ones, they sound great, and they use a headphone jack. So if I want to convert to this, I'm going to have to go to that. And that's just a little ridiculous to me.
Okay, well, to stay on the headphone jack just briefly longer, there is a reason to get rid of the headphone jack. It's that it is only capable of doing three things: a left ear, a right ear, and the microphone if you have the extended jack. So that's the limitations of it.
You can
if
do
you
other things with the headphone jack.
Right, but there's standards, and they're not, you know...
If you go back to older phones and like the early iPods, you could use the headphone jack. They used it for a remote, for a wired
That's
remote.
True. Oh, yeah.
Triggers for cameras and stuff like that.
Right.
But almost all of those are little hacks and not standards.
Yeah.
Versus if we had a new port we could use that had a standard that, you know, we could, you know, pull whatever else we want off of it, that'd be great. And USB-C could be that standard, maybe not. The problem is that Apple's trying to do Lightning headphones, which unfortunately is proprietary. You can only do it with Apple devices. So I don't know. It could be, we could have a new interface for the headphones, and it could be good in the long run. And as always, moving from an old standard to a new one is always rough, especially if it's not backwards compatible. So yeah, I totally understand, and I totally think have both. It doesn't hurt for a long time until everybody starts using a new standard. Now, this might not be the new standard.
One real complaint I have, and this is a technological issue that may have already been solved, but I'm not aware of it, is like if you want to listen to really good headphones, you need to get like a headphone DAC, right? You need an external amplifier and stuff like that. I'm not aware of any like Bluetooth headphone amplifiers that can receive it and then amplify so your headphones can plug into that. And so that's what I would want, because I like a little portable headphone amp that I can take with me and plug into my phone and just have that be in the middle. And that way my headphones are loud enough that I can hear them. They sound good, because like the better headphones that I have are really quiet with normal output, right? Because they're high ohm headphones.
Cool.
Or maybe I said that backwards.
And
maybe
actually, it's funny that you mention amplifier, because right now every manufacturer of aftermarket car amplifiers for like speakers and subwoofers all offer Bluetooth in the amplifier, so you can just connect your phone directly to the amp.
Yeah. Well,
and you could in theory plug your headphones into it.
I was going to say I'll get one of those 1,000-watt amps and plug my headphones into
it. Well, on that note, should we check out the news?
I think it would be a good idea. I'm going to start off with a little story about the fact that Google Play has done the same thing that Amazon did before, and has decided to sell their 4K movies at the $20 price that Apple set when they came out with their iPhone event a couple of weeks ago. So good on Apple, good on Amazon, good on Google. This should just be the standard everywhere. Thank goodness that the whole environment is following suit here. So keep this up. Hopefully everybody has cheap movies in high def.
Yeah,
this is... Go ahead, Clive.
I just wish they had taken it a step further. Yes, Apple stepped in. They disrupted the market. Everybody lowered to follow suit. Google should have gone like even 50 cents lower and said, yeah, we'll see ya. And not
Well,
not because not because I have any affinity for Google or anything. I don't like when everybody just settles to the same thing. I want someone to step it up, because if someone goes further, then it just keeps going and going. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of like that old, where you got two gas stations across the street from each other. One lowers it a penny a gallon less, then the other one follows suit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the other one's going to meet it, right? But I think what probably drives this more than anything is the studios, isn't it?
well, maybe.
Remember, Apple basically was negotiating with the studios and saying, we want to do it at this price. No, we're going to try to do it at this price. And all the studios, except for Disney, eventually bent to Apple's will. Now, I don't know why Apple's got the special sauce to make it to happen and not anybody else. But again, this is awesome. It's just, and I agree with Clyde. Clyde should have been able to say, and it's 1949 instead of 1999.
Yeah. Well, here's the difference, though, because normally, and the only reason I think that they had to get the studios involved is because normally if you lower the price like that, you're taking it out of your end, out of the markup. You can lower it as much as you want, as long as the studios are still getting. I guarantee that Apple said, well, we're going to lower it, but you're going to lower your end. We're keeping our... Because that's a very Apple thing. Well, we get this much cut, and that's what we're getting, even if we sell it at a lower. So, yeah.
But I mean, how much lower was it? Because I mean, a Blu-ray was only like about maybe $23 or $24, something like that. And then so now they're going to come in with a digital version of that for $20. So I don't know as if they're really cutting a whole lot, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's like what you said, Clyde. Like they do set price controls at times, right? So some companies will set price controls saying, we will not sell to you if you start to sell this below X dollars. So it may be something like that where the studios have said, look, we want to maintain this price level. We don't want to let the prices get pushed too low. So look, you can do what you want basically, but we will not sell to you ever again if you drop below $20.
Yeah.
And so that's something that may be happening here as well. That's why Google doesn't undercut Apple by 5 cents.
That's a good point. It's like
kind of humorous, I agree.
I know there are certain brands out there in physical merchandise that if you go below, if you're going to sell something on sale or clearance, you cannot publish the price because it could potentially devalue their other products in people's minds. If they go, well, I was able to buy this for like $10, but everywhere else it's $200. Why isn't it $10 everywhere?
Yeah, when I worked at Best Buy, Bose would not let you sell their stuff on sale at all. That was
Apple was the same way. When I was at CompUSA, when stuff was old, it would not go on sale. We had to destroy it.
Yeah.
We had to literally hide it in the store. It is not allowed to be sold.
Yeah.
And then I would go find those and buy it at cost, and the manager would get in trouble. But I didn't like him, so it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, back to this to the story about 4K prices though. Like one thing I'm interested in is like I can't find this when I look in the Google Play Store, right? So when is this actually going to go live? Is it only available to find on certain devices or whatever? But B, Amazon currently doesn't have at least the movie that I'm interested in right now available in 4K streaming. So I'm interested to see what happens here because I'm really hoping that this does proliferate. You do get $20 UHD movies. Like the new Wonder Woman movie, it's in stores now, so I kind of want to buy that. I'd like to buy it on Amazon in 4K so I can watch it on my 4K TV and stuff. But it's still not there, right? So where am I left at? I'm like, well, maybe I'll have to get it on Google Play, but it's not available on Google Play yet in 4K, at least that I can find. So we'll see. But I'm excited about this happening, and especially about the pricing, because That's cheaper than the physical media for a change. Like, because
Which
normally,
it
right,
should
like
be.
digital prices are comparable to your physical media, which is a little ridiculous, right? But I'm glad that's happening.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Moving on, we have a story about you guys remember when you guys did have cable? I mean, some of us still do. And that they would have like a free weekend where you could watch HBO or Cinemax or Showtime or
Skinamax?
something. Yeah, Skinemax. Some people love their
Skinemax.
Skinemax. And it's like it was kind of a nice little treat that your cable provider gave you, and it was kind of nice. Well, guess what? We're getting the same deal through streaming services. It looks like we're this last weekend you were able to watch for free HBO and Cinemax on various things like DirecTV, Dish, and the DirecTV, excuse me, Sling, and Hulu. In fact, I watched a couple of HBO movies on Hulu this weekend, and it was like I didn't have to sign up. I just had to go open Hulu, find the channel, and there it was.
And what happened? Don't leave us hanging.
And it froze. Did you hear? Did you lose the?
No,
lose
you
audio?
left us hanging. You said you opened it in Hulu, and
I lost audio, and I watched Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and it was great.
so
Cool.
this already happened.
This happened this last weekend.
So it's
you
not
were on a
news.
cable
It's
provider.
ha ha. I got to
No.
do this and you didn't.
It's news because guess what? It'll happen again, and I'm so happy that they're doing it to streaming services. That's all.
You just wanted to rub it in our faces that we
No.
didn't know about it.
No,
You're supposed to
fine.
save that for rants and raves.
I didn't find out. Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hulu.
Well, you know what?
I had an email about this regarding Hulu, 1 month free of HBO on Hulu. And I saved the email so that I would remember to try to watch like Game of Thrones or something like that. And then I just kept not doing it. So I missed the whole month. Apparently it was a whole month free and I just missed the whole thing.
Well,
This was a free weekend.
yeah. Well, it's okay.
My
Because-
email says ending soon, 1 month free of HBO on Hulu. And maybe I had to start a trial for it or something like that.
Yeah.
But they gave you a free month trial. So,
They just turned it on this weekend, the channel for me.
Well,
oh, okay.
it's okay because as an AT&T subscriber, I now get a free month of HBO every month.
Really? That's nice.
And I did see that, but I too already subscribed to HBO, so it was no benefit to me.
But Jimmy gets to gloat because he gets a free month of Netflix every month.
Oh yes, that I do now. That I do.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on, we have a story from Silicon Dust, and they've announced a new 4-tuner version of their HD home run. This means that if you want to plug this into some type of available cable system that is open or a over-the-air antenna, you could now record 4 streams instead of your usual 2. I have not checked whether or not this works with Plex yet. It looks like it does, but it does work with their own internal services. So this is a good stuff.
Okay, so this explains. I couldn't find the story because in the doc it said Silicon Dust drops their 4-tuner. So I'm looking for they canceled something. I was like, but they just announced this. Why would they cancel it?
Yeah.
No,
That's why
they
I
dropped the
couldn't.
news.
Oh,
on
okay.
us. That's what I meant.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Jeez, I'm just screwing everything up tonight. All right. It's okay.
No,
Never mind.
it's cool. They didn't. Wasn't there another name for this? I think it's the Quattro.
I do not know, but that would be a logical name for it. Absolutely.
No, I saw it. I think on their website. I'm looking it up. There's the HD Home Run Connect Quattro.
Yes, the home run. Yes,
and it starts for $149.99. So
that's not bad.
Yeah, if you're looking for a tuner and you know that you want more than to record more than 2 streams at the same time, this is your obvious option.
Yep.
Does that one come with 4K?
If you can get 4K over the air, that's a good question. I do not know if this is capable of pulling 4K over the air. I do not believe so. I'd have to look at the specs.
Yeah. See, right here is on the screen is it shows all the different countries that it's available and what the specs are. So that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Well, and that basically is the news of the week, except for other things that got announced.
There's
we'll
nothing else to talk about.
Not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, that was it. Nice show.
Yeah, it was great.
But I guess, I mean, if you really want to talk about it, I mean, there was a few things that were announced over
But there
the
were
last week
three
or
more
so.
things.
We actually had a lot of different devices announced last week or so. Well, we did talk briefly last week about the fact that Amazon dropped a bunch of new. Then I've used that word "drop" again. Announced a bunch of new Echoes for us, and in particular, I thought since they're streaming devices, so we talk about 3 this week. We have a new version of the original, or whatever you want to call the base Echo, which is in a smaller case. A new one called the Echo. What is it called? The Echo Plus, which is actually in the same size as the original Echo as far as it's designed as, but it has the ability to have the home automation for your house.
Yep.
And last but not least is what's called the Echo. What is this one? The Echo
Spot.
Home? Echo Spot, which has a built-in camera and a built-in screen,
And it
it's
looks like a weird mood light.
Yeah, well, some of them look like that. There are a couple of them, and that's actually what you're seeing there is what's called the Echo button, which is like a thing that I don't know what that thing does.
It looks like a game show buzzer.
It does, but
So
no.
can you play games with it?
It's an excellent question. No, I do not know.
Huh.
But no, the Echo Spot has a little display. Has a little. It's like a little mini Echo Show. It does have a camera built into it, and
the Echo button is for games.
Oh,
It's the description is a sort of odd game show type buzzer that you can use with trivia games.
no, okay. So you can literally like buy a couple of them and play a trivia game with your Echo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just use your phone.
One of the things that they're doing now that I find really interesting and exciting, this is what has always annoyed me about the Amazon Echo ecosystem, is that it wasn't like multi-room really functional, right? Like you could play one thing, but you couldn't like control multiple rooms from one location really and have say, play this song in here and the office, right? And then have it playing in 2 locations. Now they've kind of interconnected the systems so that they work really, really well together and a lot more seamlessly. So I can now have one in my office, for example, and one in my living room. If my wife is in the living room and she wants to say something to me in the office, she can say, Echo, connect to the office.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. I don't know what the command word is yet because I don't have it, obviously. But it'll allow you to actually do a direct communication between the office, the rooms, kind of like your old like comms that people used to put in their rooms. It provides that kind of functionality along with the ability to play music in multiple locations and kind of control it on a more granular level. So my guess is that that's going to be able to be utilized for things like that. Plus, they add phone call, free Echo to Echo phone calls to people anywhere I think it's anywhere in the world. Which again, that would be a logical way to utilize these. You'd be able to say, "Hey, let's play trivia with Grandma," and then it would call her up on her Echo. And then you guys could play a trivia game together and things like that. So I'm really interested in this. I think the added functionality, it's finally really going beyond just being basically the functionality you have on your phone, but hands-free, right? Now it's taking it to functionality that maybe you could get on your phone with some apps and stuff like that, but not all in one place and not easily at least. So really taking advantage of the fact that this is a connected home device that is internet based, so it can do just about anything.
Yeah, it seems.
I mean, I think that's a good point that Mike brings up there. I mean, I do think that, if you're talking about going from like a millennial to somebody who's older to grandma or something like that, I think that makes sense. But I couldn't see that same use case if you were going from millennial to millennial.
Right.
Because they would just use their smartphone instead. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that to some extent that's correct, right? Like if I'm a millennial, or even myself, like I largely use my smartphone for just about everything.
Sure.
And I tried to convince my wife to let me pre-order one of the spots just because I thought it would be cool to be like, it has like clock functionality. It kind of sits at an angle, so you could set it on your dresser as a clock and stuff like that. But it also can do like video calls and things like that.
You want video in the bedroom?
Well,
That I was gonna say, I think that's
I
the
didn't
point
say
that's
where
not
I
gonna
would put the
fly with the
clock.
wife.
Didn't say where I would put the clock. I said a dresser. I guess that's probably in the bedroom. So that might. Anyway,
Long as you don't mount it on the ceiling, right?
No, I was just gonna say that's probably the point that kills it with anybody's wife. Oh, I'm on board. I'm on. Wait, there's a camera? No.
Yo.
yeah, no, but I mean, the spot having like the ability to do like video calls and stuff like that. Yeah, you can do all that, and that was my wife's response was, I can already do video calls and stuff like that on my smartphone. What am I getting out of this that I don't already have? And that's largely true. I largely agree with you. However, I do think there is something to be said for the convenience of having a device in place, hands-free and stuff like that. So maybe less in the living room and stuff, but more in the kitchen, right? So if you're, if you're cooking something in the kitchen, being able to pull up a video and tell it to pull up the last video you watched on YouTube so you can watch how they prepared something, or tell it to call grandma so you can talk to grandma while you wash the vegetables and cut the vegetables and stuff like that, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are kind of interesting scenarios that we kind of ignore right now. And just, while you're cooking, it's not a social event unless the person is physically there. It just kind of starts to provide other options and open things up a little bit easier. The other thing is just the general hands-freeness of it, right? Being able to control the other devices like your smart TV and stuff with it. So hands-free, not even have to find your remote. Just say, hey, turn the volume up on the TV, change the channel, start this movie, all those kinds of things, all voice controlled. And you don't have to push the button on the remote like you do with the Amazon Echo or Amazon TV remote now. I'm excited about it. I keep trying to convince my wife that it's worth spending another $200 on. She keeps saying that it's not, but
see, I'm with you there, Mike. I think that it is an interesting use case to use it in the kitchen, especially if you. I mean, me and my wife, we use the Amazon pantry all the time, and so if you have this in the kitchen, right? What better way to put in your pantry orders, right?
Yeah. Well, I already do like all of our shopping list and stuff because our kitchen and living room are connected, and so the Echo's in the living room, and so we just shout at it whenever we find something that we need to add to the shopping list. We do that. So that's the thing we probably use the most out of the Echo is that and music, right? We control our front house lights are controlled by our Echo as well, so we can tell it, turn the garage lights off, turn the garage lights on.
Right.
So when I was looking through this, the one thing that struck me was that why did they change the names? Because basically the regular Echo got smaller and got like designs and stuff, which if I'm not wrong, they already announced that previously. Didn't they call it like the next generation Echo or something like that?
I don't think that was announced until last week. So
but then they just took the old Echo form factor and added a plus to it. So,
yeah.
I mean, yes, I mean, there's physical upgrades in the hardware and stuff, but they just took the old Echo and called it, now it's the plus because it's bigger. It's the plus size, I guess.
Well, no. So I think the big thing that they did is they, in theory, and my understanding from the announcements is the smaller Echo has the same audio, roughly the same audio output and quality, maybe slightly better audio quality is their claim, but roughly the same output as the old Echo. They've just made it a little bit smaller, and they've provided these different options. Now, previously, you could always buy secondhand or even maybe Amazon produced like decals and stuff that would decorate it up and
Skins.
make it look cool. Skins, yes. But what they've done is the main one that is the larger form factor is roughly the same size, but they've added more styles to it, and they've added the smart home hub built in. That's the ZB or Zigbee.
Yeah. And that's
smart
what I
home.
was saying. There's obvious hardware and software upgrades, but the form factor itself, they just
Is the
changed
same.
the names on the form factor. What I want to know is, what are they doing with the dot? Is the
It's
dot
still there.
I mean, but are they going to phase it out, or okay? So now
It's
they
$50.
technically
It's
have
a
four
$50
Echoes.
option. Yeah.
So-
you got. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Or wait, did you just lose audio?
No,
No.
I didn't.
This is the go-ahead episode.
Okay, go ahead. And I'm going to say the Echo Dot is their $50 option. The Echo is their $100 option. The Echo Plus is their $150 option.
Yep.
And then you've got the Echo Spot, which is their $130 version of the Echo Show, which is $230. So
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. They're just covering the market. This is the shotgun effect. They're just throwing it everywhere, seeing what sticks, and we'll see. I suspect they'll all stay around for a long, long time.
I mean, I think that's a little bit the case. I think part of what they've done is taking the one that's still called just Echo 2, right, or Echo or whatever it is. The less expensive Echo is, I think, really intended to catch that lower price point. The Echo Dot does serve a specific marketplace goal, right? It does not have a strong microphone or strong speaker. The speaker on that is intended just for communication purposes.
Yep.
Like, you can call somebody and talk to a person on it, and you can get feedback from Alexa about things, but you wouldn't want to listen to music with that speaker. It would, however, connect directly to most receivers,
Stereos. Yeah.
stereos or receivers and stuff through an input. So it can accommodate the person that already has like a Sonos or a high-end device that provides speakers and stuff, and connect to that, so you can get the good sound and stuff. But you could also just pick this up to, like I said before, put in the office and have it work kind of like as an intercom, or the ability to control your main home stereo that's in the other room. Or if you have a multi-zone home system, then you could have one hooked up to that and one in the other room, and you could be able to control that zone via the Echo in the other room. So, I mean, it definitely serves a very specific niche besides just being cheap. I think that bringing the Echo down to $100 was the goal, was to cover that lower price point.
Yeah, because that's one of those things that at the old price point, the Dot was kind of enticing. There was no way I was paying for a regular Echo. I mean, as little as I use the Amazon ecosystem. The Dot was getting closer, but it didn't have the functionality that I would want. But I think that's a good segue. We can jump into the Google stuff.
Right.
Because the Google announcements is where I'm starting to go, You know, a buddy of mine has he got a home last year. He had a Best Buy gift card that needed to spend. So he bought the LG G6 or G5 or one of those, and it came with a free Google Home. So he got it. Now he's got all the Hue lights. And then, you know, in the bar, he goes downstairs in the basement. He can set, like, just by talking to it, set lights to different levels and stuff. And he's, like, crazy about it. And I've always been like, meh.
Yeah.
But looking at the new stuff that they announced, particularly this snowball looking thing, the Google Home
It's
Mini.
it is a delicious pastry. Would you like it in
I
strawberry, blackberry, or silverberry?
I thought it was lead.
Yeah.
Or
But
lead.
yeah, this is, I think, where I'm kind of interested because, my parents are getting to that age where, they may not necessarily, something could happen. They're alone because they've now got
Mhm.
two houses and they're not always at the same house. And if something happens and you can't get to your cell phone, having one of these little things in the kitchen,
Right.
you can yell at it
Yeah.
to call, somebody or whatever. I was like, and they're what, $50?
Yeah, this is the new Google Home Mini, and it is $50, and it essentially is the original Google Home in all its glory, except for smaller and cheaper. And they are boasting that they were able to get at least a halfway decent speaker in there. And they're definitely saying better than the competition's mini speaker,
Yeah.
and all the people are
the-
doing it saying it's actually halfway decent. It's not gonna blow your socks off. but
That
it's
air
decent.
freshener candle looking old Google Home, there's no way I could get my parents to let me put that in their house. This thing, I
Ah.
could probably get a couple in there and they wouldn't even think about it.
Now, as Michael was saying before, that the Amazon Echo has the ability for you to call the different ones. Well, the new feature that I'm excited about this, and we're considering buying two of these, one for the upstairs, one for the downstairs, is that you can say, "Hey, device, broadcast, it's time for dinner," and it just wakes up all the other ones in the house and yells out, "It's time for dinner," which means my son will come downstairs from his room.
See,
Without us having to yell.
in my
all over
household, we
upstairs.
don't have that problem because we've got the family whistle that
Ooh.
my mom would whistle on the playground, and us kids, we'd come running, and all the other parents were like, "How'd you do that?" And I find myself, I'm downstairs in the kitchen, I just do the whistle, and then the kids know, they hear it. It doesn't matter. You hear the whistle, you come, and then find out what.
Mhm. Yeah, so our family, we don't whistle for people because it's considered it could be rude because you whistle for animals, you don't whistle for people. So for that reason we don't do that. But it's fine.
Well, children are animals.
I know, but then children start whistling for other people, and then it can be considered rude. So so we just decided to go ahead and go. We don't whistle for people because that's not the right thing. But it's nice that we have the feature that we could put this in different rooms, and we could just basically say, "Hey, tell the household broadcast that it's we're gonna go in 5 minutes," and so
Does
then
it? So I like what you're saying, but would it provide any kind of bidirectional communication at all? Or is
Excellent
that
question. My guess is no.
right? So that's kind of a little lame. Like, why would you put such a limitation on it when the devices are clearly capable of doing that? But
Completely agree.
yeah,
How-
and
To me, that would indicate that they've not worked out that in the software yet. Would be my
Right.
guess.
yeah, and the great thing about all of these is, right, they're always connected to the internet, so they could push that new feature out anytime, and it would just
Yep.
suddenly start working, and you'd get
Right.
an email. Like, I get an email every week from Amazon saying, "Here's what's new with Alexa," and
Right.
so you'd get the same kind of thing, and suddenly it'd say, "Hey, now you can do bidirectional communication. Use it as an intercom."
Right.
Sweet, that would be
Yeah.
great.
See, and my part of my use case is the fact that I do use Google, the Google Assistant on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Right.
And my mom
Mhm.
has an Android phone, and I've been trying to get her. She's starting to understand. She's no longer freaked out when her phone says, "Hey, you should leave now if you're going to get to this place." How does it know I need to go there?
Mhm.
It's because you do on a regular basis.
You
But
got an email.
like earlier today, when I was reading this, I was playing around with Google Assistant, and I asked it, I'm sitting here at home, and I asked it, how do I get home? All right, you said, how long will it take me to get home? and then it mapped a route around the block and back to my house. It says 2 minutes by car. But I mean, I use that. I mean, I've been teaching her, that like, you want to remember to call somebody. You just say, hey, device, remind me to call so and so, and then that's all you have to do, and then it'll say when. Mm-hmm. You tell it, or set an alarm, or all that stuff. The Google Assistant is great. Even you can ask it, where am I parked, and it'll tell you approximately this address. And so for them, especially now that they're kind of out in the country and they need to want to know, she's obsessed with the Weather Channel, but the Weather Channel doesn't always give her the personalized stuff. It's national. So, but she can ask, what are the road conditions like, or blah, blah, blah.
Another silly thing that's really nice about the Home, I believe it can do this, is you can ask the Home, hey, help me find my cell phone.
Yep.
And it will literally use the Android device location service that Android's got, and will make your phone do its own.
Although it's kind of silly when I ask it that, because that means I'm holding my cell phone in my hand.
Oh, that's true. But I'm talking about with your Home.
Yeah.
If you got the Home, you can ask it where your cell phone is.
And I'm not saying I've never done that. I'm just saying it's really silly when that happens.
That's one of my wife's favorite features of the Echo, because she's always like, "Where's my phone?" And she just, "Hey, find my phone," and it's like starts to being wherever it is, and she can walk right to it. It's a pretty good feature.
Yeah.
She keeps saying, how do I get one of those? How do I get that to work with the remote, with the keys?
Well, you can do it with the remote if you have a Roku. I push the button on the top of my Roku, and the Roku remote starts playing Ride of the Valkyries really loud.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And you can change that. Well, you have to have one that has the voice capability, because, a microphone is a speaker.
Sure.
And we'll talk about that then when we get to those devices. But
we should mention that also the Google came out. It did not actually come out. It's coming out in a few months.
Yep.
With a big old version of Google Home called the Google Home Max. Now this thing is directly competing against Apple's HomePod. This is them hearing about HomePod and going, "Oh, we could do that and do one better." Hopefully, that's what they think.
Yeah.
So it's $400 for this.
And I was going to say, and this is where they're taking another, where you can say that they took a cue from Apple, much like the 4K thing. This thing is priced at $400.
Yes, it is priced at $400. But I am excited for two reasons. Reason number one, it is actually stereo.
Mm-hmm.
It went frozen again.
I like that that was your emphasis. So it was actually stereo.
And your second point?
And I don't know if Apple HomePod is actually stereo.
No.
But also, if you take
two
of them...
it is.
Okay.
The Apple HomePod is.
Well, that
they
wasn't
said
clear to me.
It simulates stereo.
That's
no,
right.
it is stereo.
Okay.
I believe you. But when the original announcement came out, it was not clear. They also said that you could buy multiple of these and it would do, fill your room better. And I was like, well, does that mean I can hear Simon in one ear and Garfunkel in the other? With the Google Home, yes, you can actually get a left and right channel to each one, which is something pretty cool if you ask me. It's a big old speaker with big old 2.5-inch woofers and tweeters, and it's going to be really loud and still will respond to you just like a normal Google Home will. It supports your Bluetooth, of course, like all the other them. So it's their big speaker for trying to pump a lot of sound into a room, and I'm excited about it. I don't think I'll pay for it though. I will buy one used, like 10 years from now.
Yeah, this is for the audiophiles, I think.
Right.
In both Google's case and Apple's, right? I mean, if you're an audiophile, you probably will see the value and want to pay the money. But if you're like, and like in my case, like I've got a set of Bose home theater speakers in my living room already. So not so appealing to me in either case, either the Google or the Apple one. But I mean, I'm glad that it's there. If I didn't have a home theater system already, then I would be a lot more interested in it. Or if I ever want to do something different than the setup I have now, I might be interested.
And this is the kind of thing that the home theater people have wanted for a long time. The idea of getting wireless satellite speakers for your 5.1 or 7.1 sound has been
Right.
problematic. There have been adapters that are not so good that you add on. See, if this were two of them for 400, I'd say that's a great deal,
Sure.
especially because Android Assistant Google Home integrates with Chromecast and you can control. Now so not only are you adding speakers, but you're adding the ability to control it, the Chromecast with your voice. But yeah, at 400 a pop, getting four of them in your room, yeah, that's going to be a hard sell.
Yeah.
It's also not clear that it
For me,
hooks
at
up to
least.
an existing audio system for your
Well,
home
no,
theater.
that's why I'm
very
saying
well,
if
so.
you're using like the Chromecast, I believe you can
Yeah.
you can get the audio back to it from the Chromecast.
Right, and
So
it'll
of
sync up
course,
the timing.
keep in mind too, Clyde. I mean, like if you get a nice Bose or any other high end home theater system, just the speakers alone is going to cost you north of $1,000.
Right.
Depends, yeah. But I mean, I'm talking more from the budget theater where 400 for a pair is pretty normal.
Right. But to be fair, this is four speakers. To get your four speakers, that's $1,600.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I mean, one thing that, like with that Bose system, you get the different kinds of speakers, right? Like you've got the center channel that's attuned for speech type sounds, and then you've got your satellite speakers that are designed for those types of sounds, and your bass speaker that's designed for bass. So this, I think, would be very challenged to match the kind of audio depth and quality that you would get out of a high end or a moderately high end surround sound system.
No, and I
Agreed.
wasn't saying that this would be a good surround replacement. I was just saying this is addressing something that home theater people have wanted in the wireless speaker.
Yeah.
Because those $1,000 speakers, you end up having to run cables, and that sucks.
Right.
Yeah. I think one of the things I question, and I mean, you mentioned, Matt, the stereo thing, and while these speakers may be stereo, when you have the two speakers a few inches apart, the stereo variance is going to be pretty negligible.
It's essentially it's a mono speaker.
Right. What you mentioned, Clyde, is the simulated stereo that Apple provides. And while those stereos may be again stereo individually, you effectively don't get stereo. But what they did mention in the announcement, the Apple announcement, that if you put two in the same room, then you take that to a new level and you get what then becomes a simulated stereo by one of them taking the left and one of them taking the right.
And Matt mentioned that before, and and that would be true dedicated stereo when you have the two of them. Then you've got two speakers doing left, two speakers doing right, and you get true.
Don't worry, I'm just screwing with Apple because they said simulated stereo. Come on.
When you only have one speaker, what else would it be, right?
Yeah. But what I think is, what I wonder about with both of these products is, like Clyde, you mentioned the price at $400. This is a really expensive sound system, and it's not going to be good for anything really other than listening to music.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of money for speakers. Now,
that was my problem. That's my problem with it. Is it's a lot of money for likely not the same level of quality for a non-wireless speaker in that same price range.
Yeah, I mean, Sonos is already in this market, and what is the difference in quality that you're going to get? Why are you spending this extra money here? Is it just to get the interactivity? Well, it makes a lot more sense to connect your Sonos via Bluetooth to your Echo or your phone or whatever, and utilize those Sonos speakers to get that high quality sound, and then use the actual Echo or the Home or whatever device it might be to be your assistant or whatever else you're getting out of it. So I find these to be trying to fill a questionable hole, a hole that I don't know that is there. I don't believe it's there. So
Well, that's the problem. Remember
happens.
the iPod Hi-Fi?
Yeah.
It failed so horribly because nobody needed it.
Or the Google came out with, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was like a Google TV but for music. It didn't even make it to market. They gave it out at Google I/O as the beta version. Yeah, the Q or Cube or
I
something
think
like
it's
that.
the Q.
Well, and they still
QUE.
have
Yeah, QUE.
the
And
Chromecast audio.
but I mean this is good in the fact that it's a dedicated speaker for, so if you want a Google Home and audio fidelity is important to you, then you know this will get you to a better place. It's not going to be super high fidelity based on the size of the enclosure and the size of the speakers, but it may be a better option for you. For those that don't want to hook their Google Home up to a their home theater stereo receiver.
Right.
All I gotta say is I'm really happy we now have competition in this field. It's not going to be stuck by one company. That's good. So we're going to have people trying out different things. People are going to try to be able to pick between the Apple, the Google, and the Amazon options. And so things will shake out. This will all be good in the long run.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Well, then, you know, one of our favorite topics on this show, because I always steer the conversation that way, but Roku announced a bunch of stuff.
No kidding, they did.
Yes, they did.
Geez. They announced 5 new streaming boxes. And I mean, well, 4 actually. But anyways, they replaced the old Roku Express with a new one. Basically, it's the same as the old one, but with a better processor built into it, about 5 times faster, which is awesome. They also have the same Roku Express for $10 more. Oh, the Roku Express is $30, and the Roku Express Plus, which is the exact same thing except for with component output, is now available for $40. So there you go. You've got yourself some really inexpensive, full-fledged Roku devices, HD compatible, HDMI. You put your HD TV on those. It works great. Then you can step up to the Roku streaming stick, $50, and then the Roku streaming stick Plus, which is a 4K streaming stick for $70, I believe. And then finally they dropped the price on the Roku Ultra to $99. So that's the one you're currently using, right, Clyde?
No, I've still got the 4, which is essentially what the Ultra is. Well, sorry, the Premiere Plus is what my 4 is, and then the Ultra takes it a step further with UHD. But so I didn't bother upgrading last year because my 4 was the same as the one that I needed, and I didn't need UHD. One thing to note, and it made me very happy, was the Stick Plus. That's the one that has the component connections. So you can hook it up.
The Express Plus.
Or sorry, the Express Plus. That's what I meant.
Yes, okay.
The Express Plus had that component or composite, whatever, connections on it, which I talked about back in January. Up until from the time they announced it until January, I thought it was the stupidest thing. I was like, how many people need that for a TV in their house, right? I mean, yeah, there are some people, but it doesn't seem like a big market until Mike and I went to CES, and I realized, wait, my room, all I had were old tube TVs, and I went, oh crap. And I ran over to Walmart and I bought it, and that now lives in my suitcase, not only because it's got that, but because it can do both HDMI or composite. I don't have to go into the settings. Old devices I had that you could do that, you would have to go into the settings and manually change it, which is a problem if one's in 480p and one's in 1080 because you can't see it. So And I'm glad that they kept that. It's a huge thing. If you travel ever, it's worth it to buy one and throw it in your box or in your suitcase or whatever. Throw it in your pocket, take it with you, because you never know what kind of TV you're going to run into, and it will work.
I bumped into the exact same problem when we went on our Florida trip. I put I plugged in one thing into the TV downstairs, but then we went up to our bedroom because we were sharing a house with an Airbnb with a bunch of family. And if, we want to watch a show up here. And the old TV, no HDMI, couldn't plug anything into it. It's like,
yep,
no kidding.
Well, and it was great because up until that point, that's where my Fire TV was living, was in my suitcase. It had been relegated to my suitcase, but I really wanted to be using a Roku. And then I went, oh, easy upgrade. Now I've got a Roku that goes with me everywhere. With the rest of these announcements, I am excited to see that they are iterating on the existing. The streaming stick with the wireless built into the cable is weird.
That's actually pretty smart because
it is. When I first saw it, I was so confused. It's like, what the heck is that thing? And no, I get
the
it.
Antenna.
Yeah, I get it now. And yeah, that's kind of cool.
That means that you'll be able to get much longer range with that thing than you ever could before with just a regular stick. So if you ever had your stick and went, man, it's not as good, I can't get the signal here, that might be your solution, and you get your UHD out of that one. So
yeah, so I'm actually I'm thinking about maybe upgrading to one of the new Rokus. I have to go through the specs and determine, because my parents kind of need one now for their second house where there won't be cable. And so I'll probably give them my Roku 4. My kids don't get the Roku 4. They get to keep using the old stick. Sorry, kids. But yeah, I'm not sure if I want to go to the Ultra because I don't think much changed on the Ultra.
Yeah. No, actually, I believe the Ultra stayed exactly the same.
Exactly. So it's like, right now, what's the point? Other than the fact that it's now cheaper. But the Roku, not the Express, what are the other one? It was the Roku Premier.
The streaming stick plus.
Yeah. No, I
don't.
The
Premier from last year.
Yeah, I guess the Premier didn't. I thought the Premier got an upgrade in hardware, like a new, faster processor, but maybe not.
The Premier basically dropped off the list, which
you're
makes
right.
sense.
And I'm seeing that now as I go through. So maybe I'm not upgrading. Maybe I'm not
stick.
I'm not going back to a stick. Because that's the thing I like about the Roku 4 is the larger form factor. It physically has a fan inside that helps it stay cool. Because with the sticks, you pack more horsepower in there, but you don't increase the cooling, and then they start getting even hotter, and they start stuttering and doing stuff. So.
I like what Jillman says in the chat room there. Mr. Roku, tell Alexa to turn off OK Google.
You weren't supposed to say that. You played right into his hands.
Yeah, I know. Couldn't resist. Had to say it. So that kind of rounds out all the hardware there. So maybe let's go through all that set of hardware that we just talked about, and each one of us say, are we going to get it? Yes, no, or maybe on each one of those items. So I guess we'll start off with the new
Express.
Echo.
The
new Echo.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaning towards getting a new Echo myself. Like I said, I've already tried to convince my wife that we want to get one or two more. She's being very resistant, but we are going to Disney World next week, so that may be part of why, spending a ton of money to go do that may be clouding her financial judgment as she looks at those prices. But I think we probably will, though. I'm definitely interested in the Google devices myself as well. So
Right. Yeah.
we're pretty we're pretty happy with the Amazon ecosystem, but we aren't terribly well entrenched, right? We've bought less than a dozen movies in total, and we all of the music we have is because it's ripped automatically when you buy a CD from Amazon. So we own the CDs themselves as well. So I don't know what we'll do. I think we'll probably stick with Amazon. We'll go with the newer Echo and maybe get an extra Echo or a Dot or something like that. But definitely intrigued by Google because we use the heck out of Google being Android users. So
Right.
integration with our calendars and stuff like that. Whereas Echo can give us reminders and it can add to our shopping list and stuff. Being able to directly integrate with the Google Assistant and the like your Google Calendar and things like that, that's a pretty compelling reason to make that move. Um, Amazon needs to start beefing up some of its like phone app support in order to really compete, I think.
Well,
Right.
they had banked on the success of their Fire phone, but that
Yeah. Well,
never got traction.
I mean, that's the thing is, right? Like both the Apple product is going to be integrated with Siri, which I'm sure will have thorough integration into all of your iCloud related products,
It
your
better.
calendar and stuff like that. Google has already done that, right? Like
Mhm.
Google has fully integrated into the assistant with your Google account. You will have full integration to your entire world that you're
Yep,
already using with your Android phone.
exactly.
So Google is like, in my opinion, Google's already a mile ahead of everybody else in the practical usability of what they offer. Now, the sound quality, I don't know. I haven't used it. The Echo is really good, and I really like the Echo from a standard speaker perspective. But yeah, I mean, geez, that's a really compelling sell, that Google Assistant.
Yep. And
Yeah, I think for me on the Echo on the Amazon ecosystem, the one that interests me is the Spot. Maybe I'm thinking about that, and it was of the use case that Mike was talking about earlier, right? Of having it in the kitchen, right? Because we do use the Amazon pantry all the time, and it makes perfect sense to have one of these gadgets inside the kitchen to me.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't none of the Amazon products are very compelling to me because, like I said, I'm not a big Amazon user, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
really spend much time in the ecosystem. So, I am curious though, does the Echo have integration with the Nest stuff, like the thermostat and the fire
It
smoke alarm?
does.
Okay,
Yep.
because I know Nest was a sub project of Google, but Google's usually pretty good about integrating with anybody. Um, so I mean that would be if you've got Nest in the home and you are an Amazon user, then maybe the Echo is a slam dunk for you, but
Yeah.
not me.
The smart home integration with the Amazon Echo is really good. I mean, the vast majority of smart home products are supported through the Amazon Echo, especially now they add the Zigbee functionality to the Echo Pro, and the Zigbee can control a very large percentage of the smart home products on the market. So they have a really good coverage there. I have a friend that has a pretty extensive smart home. He's got like smart blinds and lights and smart camera and stuff like that. So he can wake up and say, hey, let the sun in or whatever he's got his keyword set up for, and it opens his blinds for him and stuff like that. So that's a really cool feature, and that's one of the things that got me really excited about the Echo in the first place. Like I said, the Google Home, I expect to have, at least in the near future, comparable level of compatibility with smart home devices.
It does. I mean, there are, I want to say, very few things that the Amazon is integrated into that the Google Home is not.
Yeah,
There
that
are a
does.
couple things, but it's negligible.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I just don't know. I can't speak to that. So, um, but it like I said, the Google Assistant, if you're an Android user,
Mhm.
that's a game changer for you. Just like I think that if you're an iPhone user, the Apple Pod or whatever it is going to be the de facto choice
The
just
Home
because of the
Pod.
fact. Yeah.
HomePod, right?
Uh, because your integration with Siri and the ecosystem that you already use is going to be complete, and so why would you ever consider anything else? Though it is a little bit ridiculous to only have the ultra high end price, but that's Apple's shtick, right? Like, screw you, we don't care how much it costs. You find a way to pay for it, even if you have to mortgage your kids.
Mortgage Your Kids. Title.
Wow.
Well, I could resist that a little bit, but but yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, Apple does play in the premium devices, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, I primarily am in the Apple ecosystem, I say, but I'm also in the Amazon and I'm also in the Google ecosystem as well, right? So I use products across all three of those, and like I said, I mean, we use Amazon Prime Pantry all the time, and having one of these devices just solely for that, to me, would be worth it, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
the way I look at it, if I can order these staple items from Amazon Pantry, right, that saves me from having to jump in my car, crank up the car, and burn the gas to go to the grocery store just for those,
Just
low cost staple items,
you
right?
just need to buy 100 of those little dash buttons and program them for every item in your pantry, and then just like
Not not a bad idea. I could do that as well, I guess. But hey, the nerd in me wants to get this spot though, right?
yeah.
Mhm. What?
So how about the other ones? So if we jump down to the Google ones, we did talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
So
Any of you guys going to buy the Mini or the Max?
I think I'm in for a few of the minis. At least one for my parents, probably one for me. Um,
Hmm.
Probably end up getting a couple for my parents. And the fact that it's only $50 and it's got Google Assistant fully baked in, yeah, it's got what the Echo was missing. I mean
Hmm.
the dot was missing.
Right.
Right.
For me.
Yeah, I'll probably be buying two for the house, and I might buy one for work just to have one in my office. That'd be nice too.
And
I'm alone in my office, and being able to shout
You
up
need
my
someone to
thing.
yell at.
Yeah, totally.
maybe that's the solution for me, to just get a Google Mini and use that for my calendar, my reminders,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Have that built in, because then that can chime up at me when it says time to leave for work.
Oh yeah, you could use it to say remind you that hey, you got a show in 30 minutes.
That's right. I'll be here on time instead of like walking in with a few seconds
Or
left, right?
missing it like last week.
Or missing it like last week.
Don't
Yeah, I
worry,
mean,
nobody will know.
so that would totally work, and then I could still use my Echo for music, for the shopping list, or the control my smart TV, or whatever other features that I want to take advantage of there. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. For
very
me,
unlike.
for me on the Google Mini and Max, I probably won't be. Just for the reasons I said, I've got this, high dollar home theater system already. Um, you know, I don't know. I could go to a maybe, depending on the use case. If I could find a good use case for it, then I definitely wouldn't mind getting one. But I'd say as of right now, looking at it, I would say no for me on those.
Considering, but also Jimmy runs a risk because considering all of the Apple products that he has, if he were to introduce that Google device into the ecosystem, something might catch on fire.
I know.
It's like bringing a vampire into a church.
Oh no.
It's up to you to decide which one's the vampire.
Well, I could always pull out the crucifix, right?
Yeah.
For us, I have a problem with Amazon, and so I probably will not be touching any of the Echo devices, and that's a personal problem, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You're in the land of Zon anyway.
I was gonna say,
Damn.
you Northwesterners, you
I
either
know.
love them or hate them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the fact that they want to take over the world and they're not just being shy about it. It just bothers me. Same thing with Facebook. So Google, they're actually like saying, well, we want to take over search, but we don't want to do everything. But we do want to do, they're kind of being picky a little bit, and they are trying not to be evil. Supposedly, we'll see. Everybody keeps them in check pretty well. So, but Amazon literally wants to take over your shopping and your they are hitting every single level of every single market as hard as they can, and it sucks.
But that's the thing. Google, it made that their mantra, don't be evil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I've learned, if I've learned one thing through my life, is when somebody makes something a mantra, that means they're trying to cover up something and convince you that, they're not what they really are. So,
no, the mantra
that's exactly what the Illuminati would say. Just saying.
No, the mantra came out from their group of people of, hey, this is how we want to operate. Now, I'm certain there are people at Google who said, don't be evil, and we're using that to cover things up.
Group of people that were sitting in this boardroom behind the Google CEO's office. Yeah.
Don't be is their code word for we're gonna.
Well, we'll see. So. And then we should. Anybody interested in any of these Roku devices? Anybody thinking of upgrading?
I will be getting one of these. I think that, of course, now I'm going to wait until I get my 4K television first, but I think I am going to be buying the Streaming Stick Plus is what I'm going to get.
Because, I would, if you're going to give it use, I would probably recommend going to the, even though it hasn't really been updated, I'd go to the Premiere Plus or the Ultra.
Ultra.
But so what is it that I get on that one versus the stick?
The nice thing is since it's a larger form factor, it actually does have Ethernet.
Okay.
Which is helpful for, like, if it's going to be in your living room where you have access to the internet. Then also, since it's a larger form factor, it's better at heat dissipation because of the built-in fan. Therefore, it typically performs a lot better. That's why I like my Roku 4. Because with sticks, you run into the problem with anything that's a small form factor that heat becomes an issue, and then you'll have to reboot it eventually you're going to have to reboot it because it'll start slowing down as, especially if they've increased the processors, which then creates more heat and yada yada yada. That's just laws of physics in play,
The last thing you get with the Roku Ultra versus all these other ones is you get the advanced remote, which in particular has the headphone jack, which might be a fun feature in the
which I have on my Roku 4.
And I have on my Roku 3.
Yeah.
But apparently as Clyde was saying earlier, it has the Find My Remote button, which I don't have.
Yep, I think that was introduced on the Roku 4.
I have to look and see. Like, I wish that I had that because I have the Roku stick. We lost our remote the other day. We had a party for 5-year-olds at my house, and somehow the remote, it's probably in a box somewhere, a box of toys. We've been looking for 3 days now, and that would be the best feature right now because we could probably find our remote and problem would be solved.
It's here. I've got it. Sorry.
Mike, just so you know, in case you didn't, you can install the Roku remote app on your phone and use that to control your Roku.
Yeah.
Well, we may have to do that because our kids haven't been able to use their TV for a few days because the Roku's the device for that TV.
Yeah.
I am thinking about, you guys have mentioned you're talking about the Roku, and we talked about the Google Home and the Google and the Amazon Echo, but we didn't talk about the other announcement by Amazon, which is their new Fire TV stuff.
That's true.
right? So
Mm.
Amazon's new Fire TV comes out in a few weeks, October 25th. I'm probably going to pre-order one of those, which gives 4K Ultra HD and a voice remote. It's not a lot different than what you already get, but especially since my wife really doesn't like the Roku interface, and she's very accustomed to the Fire TV interface, which is what we have on our main TV. So we'll probably put the new one on our main TV and move that into the kids' room, and then we won't have to worry about the fact that we can't find the remote for the Roku. And then when we go to move, we'll find the remote for the Roku, and we'll be like, oh, that's where it's been for the last 2 years.
So, but I believe that was we talked about that briefly last week, and it's
Yeah.
the new Fire TV stick, right? That's 4K.
Well, yes, they've upgraded the stick to 4K, but then the regular Fire TV, which is now a small dongle thing like the Chromecast is,
right,
is also 4K, and yeah, they've significantly downgraded the size of it. So the Fire TV was roughly this big, maybe 4-inch by 4-inch, by about a half and 3/4 of an inch thick. This is smaller. It's like a little bit more than 2 inches per side, and it's more or less just a dongle, kind of like the Chromecast is. So I'm interested in this and excited about it. So just, you were talking, you're going to probably get the new Roku. I thought I'd mention that I'm going to probably get the new Fire TV as well, as that comes out in a couple of weeks. So no new Roku for me, because I'm going to do the Fire TV. I'm going to stick with Amazon. They're my place of choice. I want them to rule the world, as long as Google's still there too.
okay, fine. For me, I think if I were to pick up another one of these, I would probably pick up the Roku Express Plus, because I want that device that would work in any situation. And since they updated the processor and it's only $40, it's a really good steal. And I don't have any 4K TVs, so what else do I need? I don't know. It seems like just the right mix of features and compatibility that would be really nice for me.
So the takeaway from my opinion, the takeaway from this round of product releases is, seriously, why aren't you guys using 4K yet? Because obviously it's the thing now. Almost all of the devices, except for the bottom of the barrel ones, have 4K.
No,
UHD
Yeah,
support.
well,
exactly one half of the Roku devices are
I don't-
4K and half are.
Yeah. I don't follow the
Roku
trends.
bottom of the barrel already. Like
That's the thing. I'm one of these people that will typically isn't motivated by trends. I mean, cars are going electric and hybrid. I'm not giving up my gasoline motors.
mm,
Yeah.
Countries are handing in their guns. Ain't never gonna happen. My TV, perfectly fine. And when it dies, I'll consider a 4K, because that'll probably be my only option.
probably be your only option, right?
Right.
Same reason I never rushed out and got a 3D TV.
I kind of wish I
Dodge the
would
bullet.
have gotten a 3D TV, because I kind of want one now and I can't buy one.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, all you guys know, I'm going to be buying a 4K television probably right around the Black Friday time frame there.
Ooh, good time to do it.
Yep. You'll love it. It's a great place to be.
I'll be getting a 4K TV the next time we buy a TV. And that actually might be soon, because we still have a really ancient TV in the bedroom that's 720p, and we still use it. Works fine.
Yeah.
Have to reboot the Roku every time we use it, because we get the HDCP error every time. But that's just annoying for
Easy fix for that.
I
fine.
upgraded from 720p to 4K, so that's the path I took. I skipped the 1080p world.
So.
Yeah, I mean, my parents now, in their second house, they're using my original plasma, which is 720, as their main TV. It's a 42-inch. It's in the living room. It's 2 inches bigger than their 1080p TV. But my dad can't tell the difference. He's like on the verge of blind, at this point. So, and even I was watching it the other day, and I couldn't tell the difference between my 1080 TV here and that 720 there. It looks good. You know, as
Well,
long as the content isn't like super crazy downscaled. But
yeah.
yeah.
And I think that the bigger the jump you make, the more noticeable it is,
Yeah,
right?
and that's the
If I would
thing.
have gone 1080p to 4K, I probably would have been less excited about it. But to
Yeah.
go from 720p to 4K, it was a market improvement. And so I think that that's something to consider is, if you skip a generation, then maybe you'll be even more happy with the improvements that you get.
Yeah. All right. Well, does that wrap that up?
It basically does. I think we're good.
All right. I think it's time for rants and raves.
All
So,
right.
I mean, we're getting long in the tooth tonight. So, making up for the last 2 weeks that aren't available. So, who's got something? I got a couple things.
I just gotta talk about this device that's appeared on the internet and people are talking about. There is a new HDMI cable you can buy from a company called Marseille. It's called the M cable. They've got
Marseille?
a couple of editions.
Like Marseille, France?
I guess it's called the M cable. They've got a gaming edition and a cinema edition. It's $150 for this gaming cable. Now we've heard about the monster cables that are super expensive that don't actually do anything for you, but this one actually does some post processing. And so I have a couple of links, one to a YouTube video, one to an article by PC Perspective, where they actually show you what this thing does, and it's actually doing some work on your signal and making it look better for the most part. It's essentially doing anti-aliasing on your video games for you. It's making pictures, doing post-processing on your television shows, so you kind of almost HDRing up your movies. It's not snake oil. That's the thing that's come across for this thing. So I just wanted to point this out, that this kind of stuff does exist. Why isn't this being built into your existing devices like your televisions and things like that? But I'm kind of happy that they have a device like this if you want to do it. Now the question is, would I spend $150 for it? Probably not. But it's cool that things like this exist. So I just wanted to point it out for everybody.
Yeah.
Go watch the video. Go watch the video. You will be pleasantly surprised about
what was it
this
called?
thing.
It was the M cable?
It's called the M cable. There's the cinema edition and there's the gaming edition. And if you watch the YouTube video I linked in the doc, it's actually by a guy who's got Linus Tech Tips. They're kind of funny. You got people making fun of videos. But
I like watching them. They're pretty good.
Yeah, but basically they say, this is crap. This is going to be stupid. And then we're super surprised. It's not. It's actually good. Is it worth $150? I don't know, but it actually works. So
okay. I see. I'll bring it up here. Yeah, that's Marseille. Marseille, just like Marseille, France.
Okay.
But it's got a chip in it.
Right. It is a post processing on the video stream, and it got less than 1 millisecond of delay, and it's able to do your standard effects to your it literally is doing anti-aliasing on your game. So you could get if you have an old game that's running on an old Xbox or something like that at 720p, guess what? This will make it look better, which is amazing. Is it worth the $150? I don't know. I don't know. I just wanted the people to see this and take a look at it. And if you're interested and want to tell us what you think about it, you can send us email and think this is the stupidest idea ever, or this is pretty cool. I'm buying one today. And I'd be very interested to hear what people think about this. If this is the kind of thing that people want to do.
It's $120 for 3 feet.
That's all you need.
And then $129 for 6 feet. But then, yeah, it's $140 if you go to 9 feet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, if you can get away with a 3-foot cable, yeah, it's $120. But still, damn, that's the cost of what I paid for my Roku 4.
I know.
And I'm just using some random cable that I found in a box.
Oh yeah, well, your cable's just literally connectivity. This thing is actually doing work. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm interested in anything that can give me a better experience. Though I'd have to question whether or not, as a PC gamer, whether or not just spending an extra $150 on my graphics card wouldn't just be able to provide that much
Probably.
better
Well,
result.
that's different because if you're doing it from your computer, this cable's not going to help you because that graphics, you know, is going straight to that monitor. This would be more from like a console to a TV, right?
Well, actually, they've go through all the different scenarios, and
Hmm.
basically, the lower your initial resolution, the better the improvement. Essentially, everything, and they're basically showing off even 4K. You can see a difference of an improvement of how things look out of this cable.
I mean, it's basically, it's got to be taking the frames and just running them through an AA algorithm to just try to clean them up a little bit more, to remove some more jaggies. And so that's happening in transit on the cable instead of happening in the graphics card before it goes out, or happening inside the TV or the monitor. So it would improve my scenario more. But like I said, would I not be able to just get more by throwing an extra $150 in my graphics card, upgrading from a 460 to a 470 or something?
The short answer is absolutely.
Yeah, because upgrading your graphics card is going to give you more benefit other than just the look, because it's going to take, processing, over processing for your CPU. It's going to affect other things. So yeah, this is just going to make your video look more sparkle.
Yeah, probably good if you're running.
I see too that it increases the frame rate as well, right?
No, it doesn't.
No.
No,
that would be magic.
Oh, sorry. No, it supports higher frame rates. Yes. That's what it is.
Well, no, in theory it could, because that's how the LCD TVs with the frame interpolation, they took a 60 frame per second video and then guessed at what should be there. That's how you got 120, and that's why it looked like plastic video.
Who knows?
Because that was magic.
That was my rant/rave. Curious what people think about it.
And by the way, you could get a $119 version for a 3-foot cable.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. I do find it interesting. I'm not going to buy one. But
watch the video either on PC Per or on the Linus Tech Tips to see what it really can do for you guys, if you're interested in seeing what it can do. The argument about why not just spend a little bit more money? Well, the good news about this is you would be able to transfer it to your next rig as long as you didn't need to go over 1080p or whatever the limitation of the cable could do. So, just a thought.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anybody else?
Well.
Go ahead.
I will say today I finally got the new Hulu on my Roku. And at first I was like, yay, because that brought profiles. Because I've wanted profiles on the Roku because my kids technically have their own profile. I see what you were talking about with the interface. And I got around it. I figured it out. I'm like, I'm okay with that. But I ran into a thing that's really pissing me off. When it gets done playing a video, it just randomly starts playing another video that I haven't watched. Not the next episode from the show, but it really wants me to watch this animal control episode of Parks and Rec. Because everything that I watched today, when I got done, I'm used to Hulu dumping me back to the thing because I tell it, do not autoplay. This new version, there is no setting to turn off autoplay. And I am pissed.
Oh.
Because now I have to actually be paying attention and go, crap, stop. And if I fall asleep, God knows what it's going to watch, and then it's all going to be removed from my watch queue because I've already watched it. So now I am actually really pissed. I was excited for about 5 minutes,
So
And
was
then-
everything in your watch queue that it tried to play?
Yes.
Okay, so at least it's not giving you recommendations for things that you
No,
wouldn't,
It goes to the next thing. It
and then
thinks,
adding that to your watching list.
but it is no. But that's what I'm saying. The on the Roku on my Hulu, it is turned off on my Hulu, but the app doesn't care. The app is just doing it. On the Roku, there is no setting to turn it off. And that is the problem.
Which is interesting because I also got the new Hulu and we watched some shows on it, and it's been playing the next show for us, next episode of our shows. But I'm not going through the queue. I'm searching for the show and going in.
Yeah, well,
so I don't know.
but
Maybe...
part of it's the fact that right now I was watching new episodes, so there wouldn't. So if I watched fresh off the boat, there's not going to be another episode. So it just goes to the next thing it thinks I should watch, which is the next unwatched Parks and Rec. Well, there's a reason that Parks and Rec has been in my queue for 3 years.
Yeah, that is a feature there, right? Where it says the next recommended video, right? The auto play that.
Yeah, but
of course you can switch that guy off, though, right?
But it is. But that's what I was saying. On my Hulu account, on my computer and my phone, it's turned off. That the app doesn't care.
Oh, the app on the
in the app on the Roku,
it does
there
not have
is no setting to turn that off.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why I'm angry. I wouldn't care otherwise. I would just have it turned off.
Well, that's just a software update, though, right?
But
Hopefully.
how long is it going to take them? Right now, it's completely useless to me.
Good question.
Because I usually turn on Hulu when I go to bed, and then but yeah. So then with the new setup, when you go to your watch list, it only shows you the episodes that you haven't watched. It doesn't show you just the shows anymore. So now if it auto plays through a bunch of things, those will all be removed from my watch list. And I'll have to go and figure out, okay, crap, what didn't I actually watch? So, Hulu, not happy.
Fix it.
Fix it. So, yeah. Oh, the other thing I was going to say, back at CES, Mike and I got these really cheap VR goggles for free. Did you ever use these, Mike?
Yeah, a couple of times.
I finally busted this thing out the other day. This thing works pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's solid. It's reasonably comfortable, and it works pretty well. So,
And the best part is, it was free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worth every
Viotech
penny.
Spectre.
Right.
And did that come with a breathing tube as well?
Yes.
Hey, the new Google VR headset. I forgot what it's called already. It's two big improvements on it. It's got the strap on top, just like the one where Clyde's showing off
It's
right
got
now.
a strap on top.
Yes, it does, on top, so it doesn't fall off your face. And it's got actually heat sinks built into it to keep your face cool, because the phone gets so hot doing VR. And that's a problem.
That is
see,
pretty cool.
I had a problem with it because the first time I tried to use it, I popped this thing out because it folds up flat. I popped it out and everything was all weird and blurry. But then I found out the other day, it pops out even further. I never popped it all the way out. So now it can actually focus. At first, I thought it was just crap. But yeah, I was trying to find a use for my old phone, which I used to keep in my car before I had Bluetooth in the car. And now I've got my old phone. I just loaded the cardboard thing on it. I've been playing games and watching like YouTube videos. Unfortunately, the Netflix VR app is only available for the Pixel. Even though it would technically work on my phone, it won't let me install it.
Right.
So I was kind of pissed about that. I was excited because I was like, yay, when I fly the next time, I can actually take I could take Netflix on the plane with me, like I've wanted for a long time. And I guess not.
Yeah. It is good. I like it. It's comfortable. Yeah. It wears pretty well. And the other thing about it is that it folds really small. so it's reasonable to take with you in your backpack and stuff. Whereas, like the Daydream, I haven't used it, but it
fits
looks like
into
it
this
would
thing.
collapse down everything. Whereas, yeah, like Clyde showed, I point at my screen where you're holding it up as if that makes any sense for anybody.
Yep.
No,
it
that-
just folds up and
So that's basically the cardboard just put into a better piece of
Yep.
hardware,
Just a
which
lot
is
more
awesome.
comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's actually a lot of different companies that are making cardboard compatible device things
Yeah.
like that, and that's good. Cardboard is an open spec and it's designed to be super cheap and wonderful, and everybody should be able to use it. I think and this is the kind of thing we should be seeing more of all the time. So
Yeah.
the next step is how do we get a controller, and that's where Daydream comes in. It's basically it's cardboard with a controller.
yep, it just folds up like that. And if you want a controller.
It came with a controller?
No, it didn't come with a controller. I've got a controller from my Google TV or the Android TV beta
Cool.
one that I don't use anymore.
Cool.
PS4 controller will link up with your Amazon or with your Android phone. So
Oh, neat.
I have to buy one.
there you go.
Cool.
All right, what else?
I've been watching, just finished watching Madam Secretary, season 3, I think, was really good. Without much to watch, I started watching on my own because my wife doesn't want to watch it, Luke Cage.
Oh,
And it's been really good. I'm 5 episodes in and I'm really enjoying it. I have, to be fair, I've liked every other one of the Marvel Universe shows. I've even Iron Fist. So, but I've watched Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones, and liked all 3 of them. I think I like Daredevil the most, but Luke Cage is really good. It's right up there, in my opinion, with Daredevil. It might actually even be a better show. It's the 5 episodes in. There's really good acting. There's really good human drama, and it's really solid.
yeah. I'll echo that, Mike. That's really a great show. I really enjoyed it. And when you finish that one, you watched all the others, correct?
Yep.
So this is the last one, right?
Yeah, well, I've been watching, I started to watch them again more diligently when Defenders came out so that I could be like, now I'm ready to watch Defenders.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So once you finish Luke Cage, then go right into Defenders, and you'll really enjoy that one.
Yeah, and for other than the fact that I think technically Iron Fist probably should have been watched after Luke Cage. I mean, I'm almost going right in order because Iron Fist happens, like some of the events in Iron Fist allude to Luke Cage having already happened.
Yeah,
like,
basically you're supposed to watch them in the order they were released.
right.
Yeah, which that would have been Jessica Jones, and then Daredevil.
Well, Daredevil
and then,
first,
Yeah.
then
Or
Jessica Jones,
Daredevil,
then
then
Luke
Jessica
Cage,
Jones,
then Iron
then
Fist.
Luke Cage, then Iron Fist. Yeah, that's
I
right,
couldn't
that's
get
right.
into any of them, so it was no surprise that I didn't even make it through the first episode of The Defenders before I gave up.
Yeah. Did you try watching Luke Cage?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
And
because
just
it's definitely a different kind of show. I mean, it's a lot more, definitely way different than Daredevil, a little less different than Jessica Jones.
and I was kind of bummed by Jessica Jones because I love David Tennant. But I can't stand what's her face. So it's like she kind of ruined it for me. I might have gotten into the show if it wasn't for John Ritter's daughter.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I liked it. I didn't love it. It took me a while to get all the way through the whole show, but it is good. Like, it's got good foundations and good quality. There was something that just didn't quite connect with me and make me want to go back and watch, like, binge the whole show. But so far, every time I have an hour available, I sit down and watch an episode of Luke Cage. It's been really good so far. The other thing I've been watching is just kind of my guilty pleasure is dancing shows. So we watch So You Think You Can Dance every year. Well, this is the first time I've started watching Dancing with the Stars, and I'm actually enjoying it, even though they aren't very good dancers. That kind of actually makes it a little bit entertaining in itself, but it's pretty good and fun to watch. Not as good as You Think You Can Dance, but
we watched it with Dancing with the Stars too, and it's fun to watch people who are good at what they do perform, and so that's always fun to see that happen. And it's a decent amount of suspense and for who's going to be cut out every week. And I think we were just gonna we have the Hulu without commercials, and I asked my wife, why aren't we watching it on that without commercials?
Yes.
She's like, I don't know. Does it have commercials? I was like, go find out. And she probably went and found out this while we were doing the show.
Yeah, we kept Hulu without commercials just so that we could finish the So You Think You Can Dance and American Ninja Warrior season before we canceled, just because it's just so much easier to not have to hit forward and skip, which is what you've got to do with the PlayStation View. So,
all right. Was there
And
anything else?
I'll echo what Mike said there, about the Marvel shows there on Netflix. I've watched all of them. I enjoyed all of them. The least favorite probably was Iron Fist. And the one show I'll add that nobody mentioned was Orville. I'm actually enjoying that one. Right. So that one's not as it wasn't so Monty Python like I thought it might be. Right. It's actually, a legit science fiction show with a little bit of humor in there.
Well,
is kind of what it is.
That's what I talked about. That was it like 2 weeks ago? After watching the first or the second episode, and I went into it expecting American Dad meets Galaxy Quest, and I walked away from it going, and I wasn't sure if I liked it. And it's okay. And then I realized, I had the realization, I think the reason I'm not loving it is because the production quality is good. I was hoping for like Red Dwarf kind of crappy quality to go with the camp. But and like they mentioned on Cord Killers this week, 90s Star Trek, boring Star Trek is back. It's called the Orville, and that's all it is, with the occasional penis joke. Otherwise, it's just boring, good, high quality visuals Star Trek, and I think that's why I'm gonna continue watching it. But it's not my favorite show.
See, now I have to pick that show up and try watching it.
Yeah, you got it. I mean,
I need to watch. I'm not going to be able to watch the.
It's on Fox, so it's on Hulu, or Fox Now. Yeah, it's a Fox thing.
Now I have to watch it.
Pretty much anywhere you can Fox.
There is one other show on Netflix that if you do like the Monty Python type genre, it's called Norsemen.
Oh, I started watching that.
Heard about this.
Yeah. So if you've not watched that one yet, I'd recommend that one. That one is the true Monty Python style of comedy.
If you have watched the show Vikings, it's even funnier because it's a direct parody. It comes across as a direct parody of the show Vikings. I mean, the characters I think some of the actual characters from Vikings are playing characters in this show. Because they all look very, a couple of them look very familiar. And it's pretty good.
I'll have to check that one out too.
All right. Well, rock on. We should probably wrap this up. We're closing in on 2 hours.
I know.
But, I think we got some stuff done. We've made up for the fact that the last 2 episodes are not, were not recorded. But I am positive they are there. So We will be back next Wednesday. We are here every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central. I don't know if that's standard or daylight, whatever. 9 p.m. Central. We're here on Twitch.
Same time.
Past episodes, except for the last 2 weeks, can be found on YouTube. Just look for the VOD Squad. You'll have to search. If you get there, if you haven't followed us or subscribed there, please do that, because we're slowly getting to the 100 subscribers we need to get our vanity URL. But also, if you have not pushed that follow button here on Twitch, please do so, because we need to show that other show, Ritual Misery, that we have better followers than them. We're kind of in a race to get become an affiliate, and they are our closest rival. So they, if you're not familiar with them, Thursday night, same time, same channel. You can go check them out just so you see. You come back and, realize, oh, yeah, the VOD Squad, they know how to do it. So
Don't advertise for them.
Hey, just because they're our rival doesn't mean that, we shouldn't say their name, Ritual Misery Podcast. But
I agree to disagree.
Yeah, but definitely go over there, check them out, so you can see, just how much better we our production quality is.
Absolutely.
And then make sure you do that follow. If you know anybody that has a Twitter account, tell them to come on over here and follow. Your grandma, sign her up with a Twitter account.
Just follow. We just need the followers.
Yeah. We just need the follows.
You don't ever have to watch again. Just follow.
Yeah, that's what I said. Set up an account for your grandma. She can follow us. We won't turn her away. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm tired.
It's late.
All right, I'm gonna shut this puppy down. So,
Good night,
see you guys.
everybody.
Mike, get it up there. There you go.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.